The modern Hebrew language, from time to time, cause people to be sure that they don't have mistakes, while they do have terrible mistakes. I am fond of teaching non-Hebrew speakers Tanakh more than to teach the Hebrew speakers Tanakh, because those who speak Hebrew as mother language use the words of the Tanakh in certain manner. When they come to the Tanakh, they try to force the Tanakh to mean what they mean when they use the same terms. And it caused terrible misunderstandings. Like a child was required to draw the Or in Boris Hashem, the Holy Ark. And he drew it with one cabbage here and one cabbage here. Because it's written, כרוב אחד בקצה מזה, וכרוב אחד בקצה מזה. And כרוב in modern Hebrew is a cabbage. And in the Lashon HaTorah, כרוב means either an angel or shape of a baby. A female baby, a male baby. Nothing to do with cabbage, even though that some people's brain are almost the same. The same with the term Emunah. Emunah in modern Hebrew is used as a translation either to believing, I believe you, ani ma'amin lecha, or even worse, having faith. Faith, F-A-I-T-H. What is having faith? Having faith is a term with a terrible Christian aroma. It means to feel high without any obligation. That's the way how having faith is used normally. Emunah has nothing to do with believing, and even less to do with having faith, and I will prove it. Emunah actually is untranslatable term. In order to translate Emunah, a whole lecture should be given, and that's what I'm going to do. But beforehand, I will prove that the regular understanding in modern Hebrew is not the real meaning of Emunah when it comes to Emunas Hayadus. Yud Gimel Ikore Ho Emuno. Many proofs. First, when you deal with believing, you deal with something less strong, less clear, less obvious than knowing. I know you, so I rely on you out of being sure that you are reliable. I don't know you, but you create a good impression, so I believe that you will also be reliable. I always will choose the one whom I know than the one whom I only believe in. Because believing is a sort of intuition, a sort of feeling. A small heart disease. Yes, that's to believe. But knowing is clarity. When I know, it means that something is very clear. Emunah in real Hebrew comes after the knowing. After I do know, I have to endeavor to believe. Proof number one. Torah writes in Yetzias Mitzrayim, Vayas, Aaron, the oitos, the miracles, Le'inei ha'am, Vayamen ha'am. They saw everything. What is Vayamen after they have seen everything? A pasuk which we say every day, וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה השם במצרים ויאמינו באשר. They saw. Number 3, before Matan Torah, in Parshas Israel, ויאמר השם אל משה, הנה אנוכי בא אליך באב הענן, בעבור ישמע העם בדברי עמך, וגם בך יאמינו. They will hear that Hashem speaks to Moshe. What is the meaning that after hearing they will also Ya'aminu? What is Ya'aminu? Number 4, Pasuk in Yeshayahu, The Pasuk speaks about the future. Le'osid lovoi. Leman ted'u ותאמינו לי ותבינו כי לפניי לא נוצר אל ואחריי לא יהיה. I will do what I will do because I want you to know, תדעו, and then תאמינו, what? That no God was before, no after me. After knowing, there is a way to gain Emunah. So what is Emunah all about? My mother didn't speak about the Holocaust. Not because she had a problem to speak. Those who know these sort of Hungarian ladies know that they never had any problem to speak. If they had any problem, it's not to speak. My father used to say that even when my mother go to sleep, she continued to speak. But she didn't have a problem to speak about the Holocaust also. Unlike many people who had psychological problems to go back to these terrible experiences. She didn't have problems. She was a realistic person, but she was optimistic, and she looked only on the present and future. The past was not so important for her. Since this was the reason for not speaking, when it came to it in by the way manner, she spoke. In this by the way manner, she told me that she had a terrible train experience. They were the trains for Hungary to Auschwitz, the way from Hungary to Auschwitz took 3.5 days, usually. Their train traveled 5.5 days. 5.5 days in a cattle cabin train, which is sufficient for 8 horses, 120 Jews, children, old people, men, women, without anything, no food, almost no water, and not any other necessities. From time to time, the train was standing in a field to throw out the corpses, the people who died. When they arrived to their destination, there were 60 people out of the 120 who left 5 days before Hungary. My grandfather boarded the train, completely dark, completely black, with black hairs, and after 5.5 days he went off the train, completely white. It took 5 days. For me, it takes tens of years, and it's still not completed. And for him, it was only 1 week. In 1 week, he became totally white. And my mother, and afterward, they had to work in a queer, concentration camps, death marshes, and so on, till the liberation. Then my mother used to come to her father, she was 17 years old, with questions. She said, what does he think over there? We were perfect. The girls were modest, the boys learned Torah, you was a honest businessman, combined Torah and Derech Eretz. So what does he want from us? And my grandfather had 2 sorts of answers, always with yelling. Either he screamed and said, "Frag kan kashes," means don't ask questions, or he yelled and said, "Mefrag kan kashes," questions shouldn't be asked. And I understood my grandfather so good, because when I asked my teachers in the Talmud Torah in Netanya, where I learned when I was a child, questions that they didn't have and didn't know how to answer, they also behaved almost the same. They threw me out of the class. But unlike my mother that didn't like her father, my grandfather reaction, I was fond of it. So I kept asking such a sort of question, and they never missed the opportunity to throw me out till I became #1 expert in all the butterfly of Netanya. But one thing I learned anyway, if you ask somebody a question, and instead of giving you an answer, he screams, he yells, and he become wild, it means that he doesn't know the answer. And I understood my grandfather very well. I said to myself, my grandfather didn't know the answer, so he screamed. However, in another occasion, totally disconnected to the first event, my mother told me that Pesach arrived to the camp. As Pesach arrived to the camp, her father didn't touch the bread for 8 days. Other people also didn't eat the bread. Some of them, they bartered with other people for vegetable, for all the dreck, for all the garbage that the German used to serve. My grandfather didn't barter with the bread because he said, to whom should I give it for the vegetable? For a Jew, it's lifnei velotitz and mirshel. It's better that the Jew will eat the vegetable than the bread. For non-Jew, I mean prisoners, there were also non-Jewish prisoners. It's also a problem because chometz osur behanoeh. I cannot do it because I get any sort of pleasure from the chometz. So he didn't do anything. And he didn't eat. For 8 days, only the garbage, the vegetable, which was also served. For the children, he suggested as follows. He said, those who were under bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah should eat the bread. Those who were above bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, try. If you feel that you can devoid yourself from eating the bread, keep the bread for after Pesach. If you feel that you don't, eat it. It's pikuach nefesh. And that's what they did. After Pesach, they came to him with bread which was kept during the Pesach. He didn't want to touch it because it's chometz she'ovar alav Pesach. It's isur d'rabbanan. I heard such a story, and I told my mother, how come Saba, the grandpa, didn't tell me such a story? You know what I'm going to do with such a story? I'm going to bring to turn the whole world upside down with such a story. Why didn't you tell me? And you have to know, I was not the only son of my parents. I was the only child in the universe. No other child, small child, was in the whole family. Neither on my father's side, nor in my mother's side. I was the only one. And I was the only one grandchild that my grandson, that my grandfather knew. He had some more, but scattered all around the world, he never saw them. And we became the best of the friends. And he told me a lot of stories. How come he didn't tell me such a story? My mother looked towards me and said, you are crazy. I said, no. Not the first time that it said, but why now? She said, what do you expect from him to tell you? That a Yid, a Jew, didn't eat chometz in Pesach? He didn't feel that he had any story. It was natural for him. I said, this is the greatest of the stories. Because I want to tell you something. Asor V'Teves is coming. It's high time to speak a little bit about the Holocaust because the chief rabbinate, the Rabbanut Harashit, devoted this day to say Kaddish for those who nobody know when they were murdered. So it's good time to touch this issue also. The starving in the camp. My mother used to tell me two things. One thing she said, I understand one pasuk, one verse in Megillas Eicho better than Yirmiyahu Hanavi. I told her, what sort of expression is this? She said, Yirmiyahu Hanavi wrote, Tovim hayu chalalei cherev mechalalei ra'av. From where did he know? He was not starving. He was not in Yerushalayim. He was in Anatot. He only saw from outside. He guessed. He heard testimonies. But we felt it on our flesh and blood, on our bodies. When the German shot somebody, one of us, and killed him, we got envy. Because he was shot and died, and we continued to die and to die. This was the starving in the camp. Second, my mother always laughed when people asked, why didn't you rebel? Why didn't you escape? She said, listen, who asked this question? Only people who were not among us there. Those who were with us know that the question is totally irrelevant. Why? She said, we worked in a queer. From the queer till the camp, we went every day back and forth 7 kilometers. After work, we went 7 kilometers to the camp. Around the camp, they worked in Austria. And around the camp there were no fence, no wall, and almost nobody to keep them from running out. You want to escape? Escape. You want to go? Go. No one escaped. Never. Why? Not only because they didn't have where to escape, but because they didn't think about it. When somebody is starving from hunger, he doesn't have room in his brain to think about anything but food. This was the level of the famine, of the starving in the camp. And in such a situation, a fellow doesn't eat the bread for 8 days, doesn't take anything instead of, and after Pesach, because of Isur D'Rabbanan, he continue not to take it. And he doesn't feel that he have any special story to tell. Hence I said, when such a fellow screams, don't ask questions, it's not because he didn't know the answer. He did know the answer, but not because of that he said it, but because he didn't have the question. He didn't understand the question. He didn't have the question. And this is the meaning of having an emunah. And now I will explain it. I guess that most of you, if you are young Israel people or something like that, you daven Nusach Ashkenaz. But those who daven Nusach Sfarad on Friday night, they say a chapter from Sefer HaZohar before Ma'ariv. And this chapter on Sefer HaZohar says, among the rest, as follows. Rosa de Shabbos, the secret of Shabbos, Ihi Shabbos. The Achdas berozo de'echon. You know what is the secret of Shabbos? Shabbos is Shabbos. Shkoyach. What did Sefer HaZohar teach us? That Shabbos is Shabbos? By saying that Shabbos is Shabbos, we know that Shabbos and Shabbos, and we don't have to say it again and again. It was not better to say Rosa the Shabbos, the Achdas, the Rosa, the Echod, the Shabbos is getting united with the secret of the Achdus, the union in the universe? The answer is as follows. In another place in Sefer HaZohar is written Ihu Emes and Ihi Emunah. Emes is masculine and Emunah is feminine. Means Emunah is the vessel in which you put the Emes. The Emes should get absorbed in this vessel. The same with Shabbos. The emphasis is not on the word Shabbos when you say Ihi Shabbos, but on the word Ihi. Rosa de Shabbos. Shabbos is Ihi. Shabbos is Nekevo. Shabbos is feminine. The regular days of the week are masculine. In Hebrew, it comes on the surface. We say Yom Rishon, not Yom Rishona. Yom Yafeh, not Yom Yafa. Yom Shlishi, לא שלישית. רביעי, חמישי, שישי, Shabbat Amalka. Shabbat, and actually, who declare about the end that Shabbos is here? The mother, the wife, the woman. She'll lead the candles. Who declare that Shabbos is over? That Yom Chol is on the threshold. Eat the candle of Avdoleh. So he makes the Avdoleh, she makes the Adlokas Neros. Because Shabbos is the Isha, the woman. Because Shabbos is the vessel in which we put in all the achievements, all the spiritual achievements of the weekdays. Ihi Shabbos. The same with Ihi Emunah. Emunah is the vessel that we put inside all what we achieved in the brain. All the Yedios. Yedias HaEmes should be put in the heart. And that's what we say every day. Posuk which I did not quote it before. V'yodato hayoim v'hashevo Yisrael levarecho. Put it in the heart. And to conclude this part of the speech, I will continue with another almost private story. I had an uncle. He used to live in Staten Island. Passed away a few years ago. He was my best friend. He was 8 years old when he left home to the camps. after the liberation, my grandfather saw that nothing to do for the boys, and he sent the boys out to Holland, to England, to Eretz Israel to learn in yeshivas. And this almost child started to wander in the world, from yeshiva to yeshiva, from Holland to England. When he was 19 years old, he arrived to Venezuela. He became quite wealthy businessman, and he was the only bachelor Shomer Shabbos in all Venezuela on that time, in the 50s. He got married with Bet Yaakov girl from Flatbush, New York, and they came over to us for Pesach. My mother prepared all the ingredients of Leila Seder double. The first Leila Seder my father ran. The second Leila Seder my uncle ran, because only he and his wife were obliged to make second Leila Seder. But all of us were joined around the table. My parents sit to respect the guests. My sister and myself sit to respect the Afikoim and the consequences. And my grandmother, my grandfather was not passed already away, and my grandfather sat and cried with bitter tears the whole time. And she said, I don't believe. He was 8 years old when he left home. Never come back. Afterward, he never sat next to the Seder table with his father. How come do you know to do everything exactly as your father? With all the melodies, with all the shtickers. How do you remember? And he gave her an answer. Being a businessman in Caracas, he had a partner, a simulated Jew. A simulated Jew, nice man, but didn't know anything about Judaism. And they used to travel business trips around the country, and they took rooms in motels in the country, and they ate in restaurants. The friend ordered all the porks and all the other not so nice things which were served, and he ordered only plain water and alive vegetables and fruits, and that's it. And the friend used to ask him, what is this diet all about? And he didn't know how to explain it. One day, the friend told him, Jose, his name was Joseph. Joe, it's Jose in Spanish. Jose, I understand your problem. The religion of you is like a poison in your blood. You cannot get rid of. He said, you're right. That's exactly the definition. Today we would say that it's like a poison in the system, in the DNA. It becomes part of our entity. This is the meaning of Emunah. The meaning of Emunah, take the knowledge, take the information, put it onto your heart, make it part of your entity, that when you will be awake in the middle of the night, it will burst out of you. If you will make a blood test, the result will be glucose 88, hemoglobin 14, and Emunah 100%. That will be the result. This is the meaning of being. And you know something? There is a term related to certain people, מכיר את קונו ומתכוון למרוד בו. This term was said about the Rebbe of Rabbi Meir, Elisha ben Aruya, Acher. מכיר את קונו ומתכוון למרוד בו. But never we heard about somebody who מאמין בקונו ומתכוון למרוד בו. Because it's something with inner contradiction. Because if he's miming, that's the definition of his character. That's you, that's me, that's him. We have heard that first of all, Ikorei Ho'emuno is a matter of knowledge and matter of knowing and matter which could be proved. By the way, I don't know who took this term Emunah and combined it. Oh, I see Kelemen's book. Permission to receive. That's a wonderful book. That's exactly what I'm going to speak about. That we have permission to receive, permission to accept, permission to admit that we have received. Rambam didn't speak about Emunah. He spoke about Yediyah. If you see in the source, the Nusach which is published in the Sidurim is not original. The original is in the Perush HaMishnayos of Perek 11 in Sanhedrin, Perek Chelek. And over there Rambam spoke about Yesoidos, Hayadus, and he used the term Yediyah, Leida sheyesh Matzui Rishon. Rambam speak about Yediyah. We should know. We should know. How can we know? Rambam says in another place, in Hilchos Yesoidei HaTorah Perek Chet, that the basis of everything is Maimed Har Sinai. And Maimed Har Sinai is a very, very unique event. Abba Beidas sent me a month ago a work which he had done to show the speciality of Maimed Har Sinai via the psukim of Dvorim Perek Dales. I'm sure that you saw it, but I will speak about it anyway. The speciality is that we start our faith, or whatever you will call it, our Emunah starts from a huge crowd who testified it to their second generation. Two things are already here. 2 million people came back home from the event of Maimed Har Sinai, and each one of them told the same story. 2 million, how did I come to this estimate of 2 million people? Very easy. 600,000 male between 20 and 60. Approximately the same estimate female. It's 1,200,000 already. Till 20, from 60, another couple of hundred of thousand. So you come to 2 million. וגם ערב רב או לא אימון, you come to 2.5 million. Let's say 2 million. Okay, 2 million is also good. 2 million people came back from the event. Each one of them told the story to their descendants again and again and again, day after day, the same story without any change. And they could compare from one man's story and another man's story, and all of them told the same story. Torah says in Sefer Devorim Perek Dales, Ki Tolid Banim, very famous psukim because we read it twice in 1 week. It's the Kriyas HaTorah of Tisha B'Av, and immediately afterward Parshas Vayeschanan. Ki Tolid Banim Ubnei Banim Venoshantem Ba'aretz. You will be veteran in the land. You will give the birth to your descendants. V'ishchatem, you will become abominable. V'asitem pesel tmunat kol, you will create idols. ועשיתם הרע בעיני השם אלוקיך להכעיסו. You will provoke השם. העידותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ. I appoint שמיים וארץ, heaven and earth, sky and earth, whatever you say, as witnesses, כי אבותו וידון מהר. You will be punished, you will be destroyed, you will be thrown out of the land, you will be scattered all around, כי אבותו וידון מהר מעל הארץ אשר אני מביא אתכם שמה לרשתה. לא תאריכון ימים עליי, כי שמעתי שמעתם. והפיץ השם אתכם בגויים, you will be scattered among the goyim, ונשארתם מתי מעט, you will remain few in number, בעמים אשר ינהג השם אתכם שם, among the nations. בצר לך. מצאוך כל הדברים האלה, after all these prophecies will be fulfilled, באחרית הימים, toward the end of the days, ושבת עד השם אלוקיך ושמעת אלוקיך. I want to tell you something, which amazes me again and again when I think about it. I don't know in what was the merit that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put me next to the cradle of the Tshuva movement in its very start around 40 years ago. Around 40 years ago, the Tshuva movement has started all around the world. And it was amazing. Till then, you could see here and there, אחד מאיר ושניים ממשפחה, who repent, you could see, but not as you face it today, since then. And it burst out of any control, simultaneously in all the corners of the globe. I was involved with Eretz Israel. You know what is number 2 place where the number of Baalei Tshuva is number 2 in the world? It's Los Angeles. Who thought about it? Los Angeles, there are tens of thousands of Baalei Tshuva. I was there in its beginning, mamash in its very beginning, when nobody believed that it will be successful. Somebody invited me for 3 weeks, and I was sure that I'm going to spend 2 of the 3 weeks in Disneyland, and the other week to find an excuse to tell my wife why did I do it. We didn't believe that anybody would come to listen. Today, you have no idea what happens. I'll give you a story from Los Angeles. One day, a fellow called me, Avrech, from Rechasim, in the north. And he tells me as follows, Rabbi, do you have a chair? I said, yes, I do. Use it. Sit down. I sit. Do you have a piece of paper, sheet of paper, and a pencil or pen? Put it on the side. It will come to use it. Now I want to tell you a story. He was in Beverly Hills, and he ordered a taxi. And by boarding the taxi, he suddenly found that the taxi driver speaks very good Hebrew. I told him, big deal. I was once in Los Angeles, and I found a taxi driver who speaks even English. Hebrew? Everybody speaks Hebrew in Los Angeles. Who doesn't speak Hebrew in Los Angeles? There are yellow page, such a thick yellow page, only Hebrew speakers. I have friends in Los Angeles that are 35 years in Los Angeles, don't know even one word English. They don't need. They manage with Hebrew. There are more Israeli in Los Angeles than in Tel Aviv. Okay. He asked him, are you Israeli? He said, no, I'm not Jewish. So from where is the good Hebrew? He told him as follows. I am Protestant, not I, he. That's what he told. He was Protestant. And one day he said, I woke in the morning and I said, we base our life on the Bible. I have never went through the Bible, I want to read the Bible. So he took the Bible and started to read from Bereshis till Leinei Kol Israel, from Yoshua till Divrei Hayomim, and he continued to the New Testament. And in the border between the old one and the new one, he felt that something was fishy. He decided that the reason that he feels so is because he read it from translation. Such important things should be read in the original. מה? ח' טבת היום. ח' טבת. תרגום התורה היוונית, כן. Should be read in the region. And he decided to learn any language that his pastor will tell him that the Bible was written in. So he asked him in which language the New Testament was written. And he got an answer which was like an atom bomb exploding in his face. The pastor told him 2 things. Number 1, we don't know in which we don't have any original any origin for the New Testament, only translations. The original vanished. Nobody knows where it is. Second, nobody knows in which language it was written originally. Some say in Hebrew, some say in Aramaic, some say in Greek. Ve'elu maskimim, elu agree that what we have today is not the original, but only translations. But if you want something original, go to the Old Testament. You have the Hebrew, it's original. He came out and said, what sort of an idiot is the Christian God? That he couldn't do the minimum to keep the most holy document in its origin. You know the story about the one who went to buy a lotto ticket. American lotto. How do they say lotto?
Lottery.
Lottery, yes. A lottery ticket. $55 million the first prize. He went to Bet HaKnesset, opened the own account, and said, Ribono Shel Olam, I'm going to buy the lottery ticket. If I win the first prize, I give 25% to Bet HaKnesset. He went, he bought the ticket, he didn't win even 1 penny, 1 cent. Next week he bought another one, went to the church, He stood next to the altar and said, Yoshkes, here, Jesus, I bought a ticket. If I have the first prize, I give 25% to the church. He bought the ticket, bingo, first prize, $55 million. He went back to Bet HaKnesset. He opened the Aron HaKodesh and said, Rebbeinu Shalom, Ato yodati ki godol Hashem b'kol ha'elokim. You made it. You knew on the spot that I want to cheat you. The idiot believed. He believed that I'm about to pay. He didn't believe me. So, the same with our man. He said, how come didn't he keep his book in the original? And he decided to learn Hebrew. He found a girl, Israeli girl, who wandered in San Fernando Valley, looking for something to make living from, and she taught Hebrew to those who need, and he was in a need, and she became his teacher. She, in Los Angeles, if some of you are from Los Angeles, you know, there is a fellow called Reb Baruch Mordechai Graydon. He was the Menayel HaKollel of Los Angeles. Baruch Mordechai Graydon established an institution called Hama'or, and this institution made many seminars, which I also joined years ago. This girl joined one of the seminars. I was also there, and she became, unfortunately, accidents could happen. She became Balas Jew. She would check the mezuzahs. And she continued to teach Hebrew because even that she is a Balas Jew, she must make a living. So she continued to teach Hebrew. One day she told the taxi driver, you don't make enough improvement. You have 2 shiur and 2 lessons a week, $150 per shiur, a lot of money, but you don't make improvement. But you drive the taxi. You can listen the whole day to Hebrew tapes. At that time there were the tapes. He said, okay, bring me. She wanted to bring him songs in Hebrew. He said, no, from songs I will not learn. Bring me Torah tapes. She told me, listen, in Eretz Yisrael we have 2 sorts of tapes at that time. One sort is Amnon Yitzchak's tapes, and the other sort Mordechai Noygershel's tapes. If you want to laugh, take Amnon Yitzchak's tapes. If you want to sleep, take Mordechai Noygershel's tapes. It's in mine. But don't drive and listen, because it's dangerous. He said, he parked the taxi on the pavement, and he opened the bagage to show him a whole boxes full with my tapes. He gave me his phone number and said, when you come to Los Angeles and you forget one of the lectures, call him. He knows everything. He will help you. At least he will give you the tape. And I wanted to call him. I lost the phone number, both of the driver and of this Avrech from the north. I wanted to call him. Not because I wanted him to mention me one of the lectures, perhaps, but not this was the main reason. But I wanted to thank him because he opened my eyes. We take it for granted that we have the original, that we open Sefer Torah every Sheni v'Chamishi, every Shabbos. We have the same words. All the Sefer Torah in the world are the same words. There are some changes with letters, 11 letters between the Yemenite Sefer Torah, but even these changes don't change any meaning of any word. Compare it to the New Testament. The New Testament has 200,000 versions. No remark should be added. However, I was very, very... Let's continue with the psukim, I will come to it immediately. So the Torah says, "Ba'achris hayomim v'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shamata v'kolot." Toward the end of the days, people will come back. People will try to repent. And how they should do it? Kish'alna, the Torah relate now to the Yid, to the Jew, ba'achris hayomim. Kish'alna liyomim rishonim asher hoyu lefonecho. למין היום אשר ברא אלוקים אדם על הארץ, till אחריס היום. הנהייה, ולמקצה השמיים והארץ, throughout the whole universe. הנהייה כדבר הגדול הזה, או הנשמע כמוהו. Is such a great event took place or even heard about. השמע כל אלוהים מדבר מתוך האש כאשר שמעת את הווייכי. Never again. That's the Torah promises. Never again Hashem will reveal himself to a huge crowd. When I said it once in front of a crowd, one fellow arose and said, "You are completely idiot." I told him, okay, I hear it for the last 40 years again and again. But even my wife didn't notice till after engagement. How did you find it so quick? He said, because the one who wrote this psukim was smart like me, not idiot like you. He disbelieved in the existence of God, or even if there is any God, he is not interested in human beings and he is not real himself. So he didn't take any risk to promise that Elohim will not reveal himself again to anybody, to a huge crowd. I said, okay, if he doesn't exist or he is not interested, how did he reveal himself in front of the Jewish people, Ma'amad Har-Sinai? He said, I didn't disbelieve in this either. I told him, okay, I am for, we are in democracy and everybody could speak shtusim. You are allowed, no problem. But please explain me how it happened that billions of people during the history believed that Ma'amad Har-Sinai was an historical event. Hundreds of millions of Christians, hundreds of millions of Muslims, and tens of millions, and even hundreds of millions if you take the whole history of Jews. How this story started? You said, what the problem to implant a story and to make make a story up and to convince people? I said, okay, yeah, now you are in the trap. Listen to what the Torah promises in the name of Hashem. באחרית הימים, ושבת עד השם אלוקיך, כי שאלנה לימים ראשונים אשר היו לפניך. למן היום אשר ברא אלוקים אדם על הארץ, תראה אחרית הימים. הנהיה כדבר הגדול הזה מעמד הר-סיני, או הנשמע כמוהו. The Torah promises that not only that such an event will not occur, but nobody will speak about it. Nobody will tell that it happened to him. Or hanishma kamo, it will not be heard about. And here is what we say in Aramic, we say mimo nafshach. In English we say either way. I don't know how to say in modern Hebrew. I know to say in Yeshivish you say mimo nafshach. In English you say either way. In Hebrew I don't know. So, either way. If Ma'amad Har-Sinai actually took place as we know, and Hashem was in charge of, and he promises never again, he's in charge of promising it. Everything is understood, but when somebody accepted this side of the coin, he gave its signature to the whole budget. Talis, Tefillin, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, everything. The heretic, must deny Ma'amad Har-Sinai as historical fact. But he cannot deny that billions of people believe. So he should claim that there is a way to convince the people. How he promises that no one will emulate him and will do it again. And you know something? It worked. Christian starts from one fellow who came, and it's told about him that he was born in non-natural way. Ruach HaKodesh, Ruach Pratzim, Ruach Shtut, Ruach Tumeh, whatever. All of them together, I don't know which. Cause it. Who saw? Who was the witness? Who could testify? It's a story that by definition could not be testified on. Because they create such a story that in the story itself there is a denial of the fact that anybody will try to claim that he had a witness. Islam is a very cute religion. Muhammad went to the angel Gabriel and got from him the Quran. There were very, very precious meetings between the two. Who was presented, who could testify? Two Adim, Muhammad and the angel Gabriel. The angel Gabriel refuses. He doesn't come to give the testimony. We remain with Muhammad. Okay, Muhammad alone writes in the Quran that it is allowed to cheat people. It's written in the Quran that Muhammad promised to the people, to the merchants of Shevet, of the tribe of Koyesh, that he will do any harm to them if they will open the fortification for him. And they believed him. And they opened and he killed all of them. So he alone said that it is allowed to cheat people in order to achieve something. So how come I can believe him and not to claim that he also did the same as he did afterward? Personal example. So both Christian, Buddha, Shinto, Krishna, the same. All starts with one man who testified about himself. And all claim that you should have a blind belief. I am not such a great expert in Islam. Even though that I published a book about Palestinian problem, and I had to know something about Islam, I went to require. But with Christian, I was involved many years. It started when I was 17 years old. When I was 17 years old, my father got sick, very, איך אומרים, מחלה מאוד קשה, a terminal sickness. It was immediately after Yom Kippur War, and all the hospitals here in Israel were occupied by soldiers, injured soldiers. The Kupat Cholim, the insurance didn't give us any normal place, so we looked for private places. And I had a cousin who was a physician in Shaarei Tzedek hospital, and they took him for 3 weeks till they found a place. After this term, I got in my home in Netanya tens of letters from tens of addresses of missionaries group in Yerushalayim. It went as follows. You got an envelope with pamphlet, not even one word about Jesus till the end, and on the end there is an address, and they say if you want to have more information, please write. And I have never got back to them. I have never written to them anything. So I have never gotten any 2 letters from one address. Nevertheless, letters continue to stream from tens of addresses in Yerushalayim. And I started to ask what the story is. Why only now? They had a spy in Shaarei Tzedek office who gave them addresses of families that the head of the family is very sick. Normally these families need support, either physical support or psychological support, and they take advantage on it. We didn't need any physical support because my father was a wealthy man, and all the money which he collected during his life was invested during the years that he was sick. So it's like the fox with the makera. We didn't need support with money, and we didn't need also psychological support because my mother ran the home perfectly. However, one thing we didn't have enough material for Lag Boimer. And now we had. This was my first involvement with Christian. Then, one girl joined one of our seminars 35 years ago. She heard a set of proofs about the Torah. You know, I published 2 books. One called Masal Pisgat Har Sinai, one called Masal Onkei Havaya. Masal Onkei Havaya is proofs about the existence of Elokim. Masal Pisgat Har Sinai, proofs about the Torah. When I found Kellerman's books, I saw that he did exactly the same work as myself. Permission to believe speaks about Elohim. Permission to receive about Ma'amad Har Sinai. I went through these books and I decided that for American, Kellerman's books are much better than mine. And I have translation to English, I didn't publish it. Because whenever American come to me, I recommend not on my books but on Kellerman's book. What is the difference? Because my books speak to Israeli. Israeli, till you don't take him and kill him again and again and again, he doesn't want to listen to you. So the style of my book is to go with all the toughness, to give him again and again. American don't need it and don't like it. For American, you must give them the feeling that they choose. That's exactly what Kellerman does. He gives all. He is very liberal, and you choose, but you should choose what I recommend on. So she joined one of our seminars. She went through these proofs. She came to me and she told me, you know, you gave me proofs about the Torah. Perhaps other groups have proofs about their. I want to look for. I said, go wherever you want, but come back. perhaps we are more experienced, and we perhaps are able to argue better than you. She went from one group to the other. They wanted to sell her a lot of warmth, light, love, but truth they didn't have. They forgot it at home. So she went from one group to the other till she came to Jews for Jesus. And she went a whole course, 1 week course. She came to me with notebooks. We said 3 hours and the notebook went to the garbage. She went back and came with a new notebook, who followed the example of the first one. After the third notebook also found the place in the garbage, she said, I don't have such a lot of money to buy such a lot of notebooks. I am confused. When I come to you, you convince me. I'm going to them, they convince me what to do. I told them, no problem, tell them to come over here. Bring all your friends, you will be the judge and jury, and we will make a debate in front of you. And they came. 3 times they were by me, the leader of Jews for Jesus, every time with 5 priests. That occasionally, by coincidence, it happened to do that they were by him. I don't know how always the same priests happened to be by him when he had to come to me, but it could happen. The debate was very, very simple. He spoke about Christian principle, and I responded with 1 word. He spoke about psukim, verses from our Tanakh, showing that Jesus was the Mashiach, and I responded with 1 word. He told stories, historical so-called stories about Jesus, and I responded with 1 word, always the same word. And the word was prove. Prove me that this principle is valid. Prove me that the interpretation that you give to the psukim is the true one. Prove me that the story that you tell me that happened around Jesus really happened. In the beginning he didn't understand what do I want by this term. Then he said, Ma? Dvarim shebaruach, he's Israeli. The whole thing went in Hebrew. דברים שברוח, אתה רוצה לבדוק בשכל? מה, אתה פרופסור באוניברסיטה? אם אין אתה מסוגל להאמין, אין לך מה לחפש אצלנו. What? Spiritual concept you want to judge with your brain? What are you? Professor in the university? If you are not capable of believing blindly, you have nothing to do with that. I said, you're right. Now you're right. I have nothing to do with you. The girl name was Ariela. Ella doesn't have anything to do with you, and everything now is clear. And I approached her, told her, Ella, you know now, light, warmth, love, everybody said. We also have a lot of love to sell. ואהבת את השם אלוקיך, והשם loves us, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, light, כנר מצווה בתורה. We have also for the same merchandise to sell. But we are the one and only who back it with brain, with logic system, with proofs. Now choose. Warmth, light, love, without proofs, you can gain via 1 pill of LSD. Also LSD, but another stuff. LSD is the initial of large Siyata Nishma. Okay. I brought only one example among the many, a lot of them, the system how we work. The system how the Torah works. The Torah educates us to think, to ask questions. In the very day of the founding of the Jewish people, the main thing of the day is asking questions. Hagodah Shel Pesach. Ask questions, whoever you are. You can be the Chocham, you can be the Tipesh, you can be the smart, you can be the idiot, you can be whatever. Ask your question. And those who are capable of dealing with you, supposed to deal you with smile, supposed to deal you with patience, supposed to deal you according to the intellectual level that you need. There is no intellectual level that Judaism is beneath. It also could adjust itself to everyone's intellectual needs. And that's what we do in the Yeshiva Center, that's what we do in Yom Yun about Emunah, and I thank you for your cooperation and patience, and have a nice day. Hatzlocha kol tov.
I don't want to break it, you know. What do I hit? This? No.